So when I was about 14, 15, I was walking down the street. I saw a bunch of people on unicycles, and I was like, what's going on? And they're like, oh, there's a local circus school. You can join up at that. So I went and joined that, and I learned to juggle and stuff, and I thought maybe that's what I wanted to do because I was making people laugh with the juggling. But then I realized I could just make people laugh without practicing and learning the juggling stuff. So I was like, no, this is what I want to do. So I was like, maybe I would be like if someone asked me, I'd say I'd be a funny storyteller, or maybe, do you know Tony Robertson?
Yep.
He's Baldrick from Blackadder. He had like a lot of kids programs where he just talked directly to the camera. I thought that's what I wanted to be. Maybe basically I'm describing stand-up at this point. And then someone, when I was about 16, 17, my mum took me along to a show in the Melbourne International Comedy Festival called Class Clowns. And I saw a comedian called Dave O'Neill. He was on stage. He did this whole routine about his dad walking around the house in his underpants. And I was like, this is it. This is the thing that I've been trying to, figure out and do. And just from then on, I just, something clicked. And I wanted to do it for pretty much from then on. So because I was underage, it was very hard to get into stand-up because it all happens in, pubs and bars and, licensed venues. But I did a few gigs in high school, and then once I got to university and I was old enough to go to bars by myself, I started, going around doing open mic nights and pretty much stayed at it ever since. That's good 20-odd years now.
That's awesome. I love it. And so what I'm interested in is you started like comedy first, and that was always just something that you were interested in, right? And then
absolutely.
So you studied philosophy at university, right?
A little
bit.
So
okay,
I
cool.
And in the special I say I have a philosophy degree. Don't have a philosophy degree. I did Bachelor of Business in Public Relations, but I was able to do a couple of philosophy units. So I did some philosophy units as part of that degree. It's just easier to say it, in a joke, you have to keep it short.
Yeah.
And then was listening to a lot of philosophy podcasts, reading a lot of philosophy books, also a lot of CBT stuff. Just, I don't know. Comedy is a lot about the mind and about the audience and understanding human nature. And increasingly, I've been interested in philosophy and psychology. And, I think it was probably Tim Ferriss who got me onto Stoicism. But from there, I read William Irvine's book and Donald Robertson's book and, watched Greg Sadler's stuff online. And, just been listening to a lot of podcasts and watching YouTube videos and heaps of stuff ever since.
So we actually share the same origin story in Tim Ferriss.
Right.
I originally came to Stoicism because he said that his favorite book was Letters from a Stoic, right? And so I was like, okay, well, if Tim Ferriss recommends it, it's probably a pretty good recommendation. So I read it. It's like, damn, this is good stuff, right? And so, so how did you essentially? So you read Stoicism. What drew you to it? Like, when you started reading it, what about it really clicked with you?
It's just a very logical sort of philosophy. As a teenager, I was kind of interested in Buddhism. I liked the Buddhist philosophy of sort of, a lot of the overlap with Stoicism that you have, impermanence of all things. It's not what actually happens, it's our perceptions of what happens that affect us. But Buddhism has this other layer to it that I find is sort of the mysticism in there as well. Certainly Zen I couldn't get into too down. I listen to a lot of Alan Watts and kind of like some of it, but then a lot of it's gets a bit woo-woo at points, and then he'd lose me. So I was kind of like, I kind of like this. And then Stoicism kind of like ticked all the boxes for me. So it was logical. It, made sense. It was practical. It's things I could use in my everyday life. I was just reading these books and thinking, this is exactly what I sort of already sort of feel. And in my, I don't always apply it. Sometimes emotions get the better of me. But when afterwards, when I've had a bit of an emotional outburst, I'll sit down and think, was that the right thing to do? Is that the right way? How should I have handled this? And usually I would have eventually, through trial and error, come to a fairly stoic sort of response. And it was just amazing to see these ideas written down in books from, thousands of years ago.